self-interest is the only thing that matters in international relations. So ideally, the diplomatic table should have been a cakewalk for anyone with forthright honesty. But this is not true. Putting forward your demand in simple terms is considered a sign of weakness. So the nations take different routes to convey their weakness. Normally, this weakness has a veil of aggression. Hi and welcome to TFI English, the national socio-political analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm your host Tejasvi Malhotra, and if you haven't subscribed to the TFI English channel yet, please hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to receive all the latest updates. Coming back to the story in this video, I'm here to tell you the actual reason for which Islamic nations are angry with India. Anyone well versed with geopolitics and its games knows that most of the time there is an economic reason behind any political or even religious move. Political or religious reasons just act as a smoke screen for economic undertones. Keeping it in mind, let me tell you why Islamic nations are miffed at India. Over the last few days, PM Modi, Modi cabinet and BJP are being criticized left, right and center for succumbing to the Gulf pressure. To be honest, the anger is justified. Ever since the Ukraine-Russia crisis picked up, India has been thrashing Western hegemony on every forum. People just could not understand what suddenly happened, which forced the government to take such a drastic step. While the decision to suspend Nupur Sharma may be a temporary step back, it is important to analyze the actual reasons behind the sudden outburst of this anger by Islamic nations. Trust me, it is not their mutual respect for Islam. India's increasing bonhomie with the Gulf countries is not breaking news for anyone. PM Modi has established India's soft power in such a way that yoga is becoming popular in Arab countries. Let's talk a bit about trade with Gulf nations. In 2021 to 22, India's bilateral trade with the GCC stood at nearly $154 billion. The numbers are only expected to increase in the future. Additionally, 65% of total remittances in India come from Gulf countries. But nothing is plain black and blue in trade, and especially in trade between countries. The same applies in this case as well. India's oil import from these countries holds a special place in their trade basket. Varying estimates suggest that oil imports from Gulf countries, namely Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, Saudi Arabia and the UAE, account for nearly 1/3 of India's oil import needs. Out of the above 6 countries of the Gulf Cooperation Council, 4 have registered official protests with India. Now, let's talk about why these countries felt an impulsive need to interfere in India's domestic affairs. The main reason behind this is the increasing bonhomie between India and Russia. Over the last few months, India's oil import needs are drifting away from Gulf countries and the Middle East as well. According to a report by the New Indian Express, Russia is providing a major chunk of India's oil import requirement, and that too at a much cheaper rate. Deepening on its internal production, India imports anywhere between 80 to 85% of its total needs. It means that India roughly needs 5 million barrels per day of imported oil. Before the Ukraine-Russia crisis, India imported barely 2% of its oil needs from Russia. But ill-informed Western sanctions proved to be a boon for India. By the end of April, India was availing more than 7% of its imported oil needs from Russia. In May, it witnessed a further upsurge and India was now importing nearly 17% of its oil from Russia. In June, the numbers are set to escalate further as India will increase its Russian oil import by more than 20% on a month-on-month basis. Moreover, the country is in talks with Russian major Rosneft to further increase it. To put it simply, Russia is eating into the share of these Gulf countries, as a result of which they are losing a major market. Additionally, the fact that Europe has decided that it will be reducing its oil needs on Russia has sent these nations jittery. Russia is the world's second largest oil exporter and India needs cheap oil in the wake of inflationary pressure. It automatically means that India will prefer Russia over Gulf countries. Frankly, Gulf's outburst came a bit late. India has been diversifying its oil import basket for quite some time now. But a sudden increase in oil trade with Russia, along with the bond between Putin and PM Modi, sent shock waves into supposedly oil hegemons. In spite of that, they should have responded in a measured way. Now, they can't blame India if it decides to totally shun them off.